Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. If you've been following the news headlines, just the other day there was this story about how the Tesla automobiles, while testing their autopilot program, supposedly had one fatality, one fatal crash on May 7th. Supposedly, the autopilot system didn't recognize the side of a tractor trailer. It was a bright white that they're saying the autopilot mistake as the sunny sky, and therefore the car went full speed into the side of this tractor trailer instead of braking. What stands out in the reporting right away is the date May 7th, and the reason that stands out is because in the language of gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, Tesla equals 57, a lot like the date May 7th, written 5/7 as we write it in the United States. When this story came out, they did not name the man, but today, July 2nd, they released the name of the man killed, and now here's where the story gets funny. Before I go on with this, I want to let you know that last year, October 2015, I predicted that the Denver Broncos would win the Super Bowl based off of this bizarre news story. I'd already seen some clues for the Broncos in scores and other storylines. Then this story emerged late October 2015, a Los Angeles freeway wreck that catapulted a body onto Colorado Street. Supposedly, this vehicle wrecked below, ejected the driver through the back windshield, causing his body to land up here on the Colorado Street freeway sign in Los Angeles. And the story was obviously bogus. And what I have come to understand is that in bogus reporting, there's often scripting for future sports outcomes. I know this sounds crazy. It's because it is craziness. And it's craziness that's being put on by the crazy Masons and Zionist Jews who control our media, who contrive news stories by the numbers that are seemingly messages relayed to people in the know about events to come, such as who to bet on for the Super Bowl if you want to pad your checkbook. So you can go back and watch my videos. All season I showed why the Broncos were going to win the Super Bowl. Of course they did. And this was one of the major clues along the way. There's a whole lot more to this story, but just notice Colorado Street. The Denver Broncos are from Colorado State. Anyhow, today's story reminds me of the narrative that I've been looking at for the New York Giants. When the Denver Broncos won the Super Bowl, Peyton Manning won his second. The last time he'd won a Super Bowl, the season after, his little brother Eli won. Eli Manning is the quarterback of the New York Giants, and this story about Tesla seems to possibly foreshadow a Giants Super Bowl to come. You know, when the October story happened, the Broncos had already been playing. There'd been some other clues. I've been following a lot of narratives in the offseason pointing to the Giants. This story of the dead Tesla driver also connects. Check this out. So, we talked about how the crash was May 7th. Tesla equals 57. Know that the word kicker also equals 57. The sport of football, a very important component of the game is the kicking component. It is called football after all. They said that the man who died in the Tesla accident was named Joshua Brown of Canton, Ohio. And Canton, Ohio is where the Hall of Fame is for the NFL. Last year, after the Hall of Fame game played in Canton, Ohio, it was announced that Frank Gifford had died. Frank Gifford died by the numbers. Frank Gifford, the quarterback of the New York Giants in 1958, where the championship was against the Colts, considered the greatest football game ever played by some. So anyhow, Joshua Brown, Canton, Ohio, last year after the Hall of Fame game, a New York Giant dead by the numbers. Joshua Brown is the kicker for the New York Giants. And remember, 57 connects to Super Bowl. When you write out 57, it sums to the same thing as championship, the same thing as Super Bowl. I was talking about 57 a lot last season when the Broncos were on their way to the Super Bowl that was scripted for them. So check out the name Joshua Brown. In gematria, it sums to 47, like Ohio. Ohio, the birthplace of football. The first Super Bowl in the 47th season of the league. Again, that connection to 57, championship, Super Bowl. In the headline, it says, Tesla driver killed in autopilot crash, said the technology was great. You know, kind of mocking the guy who died. He was a fan of it, he died. But really, I think it's just another clue. The word great has gematria of 51. The name McAdoo, the new coach of the New York Giants, sums to 51 in gematria. He was hired on a date with 51 numerology. He's starting the New York Giants practice on a date with 51 numerology. Canton, Ohio, also has gematria of 51. Canton, Ohio, 51. Notice that Canton sums to 22 in gematria. A good place for Football Hall of Fame. Football is a game of 11 on 11, 22 men on the field. So here's Joshua Brown, the kicker for the New York Giants. So Josh Brown, born April 29th, 1979. April 29th, the 119th day of the year. Special number to the gang. All-seeing eye equals 119. Star of David. Nikola Tesla. Remember, the owner of Tesla Motors, Elon Musk, Forbes last year said his net worth was $11.9 billion. So much of this world and its reporting is scripted numbers, numbers of significance. We the people are being lied to with coded numbers on the daily. I guarantee you this entire Tesla story is contrived baloney. His birth numerology is also interesting. This is the kicker of the New York Giants. 131, like Super Bowl, like championship, like 57. Also the small way, 41, like Super Bowl, the small way. It's also a date that he was born on with 112 numerology. Houston is hosting Super Bowl 51. Houston Texans, the small way, equals 51, just like Super Bowl 51. Andrew Luck in gematria equals 112, the quarterback of the Colts. Again, in 1958, the greatest game ever played was the Giants and the Colts. Horseshoe, the symbol for the Colts, equals 112. Andrew Luck played his high school ball in Houston. He was the son of Oliver Luck, the quarterback for the Houston Oilers. This is how it is in this world. News scripted by the numbers. With regards to Elon Musk, he also owns the company SpaceX. The next time you see a SpaceX launch, do the date numerology of what's being reported. December 21st, 2015, we got headlines about the SpaceX successful rocket landing. That was a date with 68 numerology. SpaceX in gematria equals 68. It was a tribute to the rocket launch in 1968 that led up to the moon landing, supposedly. Another story all by the numbers. There's been a number of stories of SpaceX in 68. I have a lot of them captured on my blog. Another successful SpaceX rocket on another date with 68 numerology. It's always this way. Stories by the numbers. On June 8th, they asked why was Elon Musk meeting with Barack Obama about SpaceX on June 8th, 6/8, just like SpaceX. Barack Obama also equals 68. Here's another story where they got a contract on a date with 68 numerology. That Elon Musk net worth, 11.9 billion, just like Nikola Tesla, you know? These Masons, they got us on lockdown. Doing things by their numbers again and again. Come to my blog. All you got to do is in the top left corner, just search a subject. You know, I have so many topics. I've covered so much of this information, but this is truly how it's done. By the numbers. From rigging sports to scripting the news. All right, Truth Seeker. Until next time.